There we go. So I would like to start this presentation by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and future. I would like to extend that respect to the Aboriginal people present today. We are proud to be hosting this webinar on Google Marketing, SEO, and Google Ads fundamentals as part of the 2020 New South Wales Small Business Month Festival in partnership with the New South Wales government. Now, today's presentation, we do have a hashtag, and that's online biz. So if any of you social media savvy people out there on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, please do go ahead and hashtag online biz. If you have any questions, please do type it in the Q&A box. And if we have any time left at the end of the presentation, I'll try my best to answer these questions. So what we are going to do is we are going to start by starting with a poll. So I just have to go back out of full screen mode so I can start the poll. And there we go. I'm launching the poll, and the poll has been launched. You should be able to see a bunch of questions come up. There's 4 questions. And please go ahead, all simple yes and no type of answers. So please do go ahead and put your answers through. Simple questions: do you have a business website? And I assume majority of you would be having it. Are you using Google Ads already to promote your business? Are you using SEO to promote your business? So 4 questions, and I will shortly turn off the poll, just giving it 5 or 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm just going to turn off the poll now. So I'm going to, and let me share the results. So what we have is for the first question, do you have a business website? As we all probably guessed, about 75% of us have the website, and only 25% of us don't have a website. Well, for those who don't have a website, let's get you on board quickly, because the digital marketing bandwagon can only get started once you have a website presence there. There will be a minority of people who will probably be able to just survive using Facebook, etc. But I strongly believe having a business website is very important. The next question: are you using Google Ads to promote your website? And wow, majority of you don't. So 95% don't. Well, as part of this presentation, you will probably understand why Google Ads are important, and if you can budget for them, that's great. Are you using SEO to promote your business? And here, 33% of us are using it, and 67% roughly are not using it. Are you getting any sales and leads from your website? About 25% say that they are getting, and 78% are not getting. Wow, large numbers here. So let's get into this presentation now. So I'm stopping sharing of the results, and I'm going to go back into my presentation. So the agenda for the presentation is, we start with a little bit of introduction, background on myself and my company, a little bit of background on the digital marketing landscape, and from there we follow into why Google is important. Then we talk about SEO, some elements of SEO campaigns, how to measure performance, content, etc. Through the presentation, I will have a couple of case studies I'll talk about as well. One's a full-blown case study, and the other are shorter stories, which I'll weave into the presentation as well. Then we'll talk about Google Ads. We'll talk about Google penalties, some tools for marketers. And then at the very end, I'm going to talk a little bit about our final presentation in this series, which is next week, which is a full-blown 3-hour workshop And I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. All right. So let's get started. So our company is Bruce Clay Australia, and we've been in business since 1996 out of United States. And if any of us here are old enough to remember, back in those days, it was not just Google. In fact, Google wasn't even present back then. And we had, I think it was Alta Vista, InfoSeek, LookSmart, Ask Jeeves. These are the kind of search engines that were there, and Yahoo was the big daddy of them all. A little bit of trivia to get you started. I don't know how many of you actually know this, but in '98, when Google was launched from Stanford University by these two Stanford students, they actually went to Yahoo and tried to sell their algorithm, which is Google, went to Yahoo and they asked for $1 million and Yahoo kicked them out. So just a bit of trivia. All right, so back into a little bit about who we are. So we do smarter search marketing. The reason we say that because we focus on SEO and Google Ads, which is search marketing, Google marketing. And content is always weaved into SEO, etc. So content has been a staple for us as well. And then as part of our services, we also offer web design, analytics for measurement, etc. We've got offices in the United States, Middle East, Asia, and Australia. Again, a little bit of trivia, our founder, Bruce Clay. So if you guys have your mobiles in front of you and you've in Google type in father of SEO, you will come up with his name because he's the guy who coined the term SEO. We have also written the Bible of SEO, you know, that big Dummies series book, Search Engine Optimization for Dummies. It's a yellow book, 800 pages. So if you ever have that much of time, we teach you everything about SEO in there, but it's 800 pages, guys. So it's a lot of information. We have also created our own SEO tools, and we've spent a ton of money. And again, at the end of the presentation, I'll talk a little bit about those and how you can get them for free, at least initially. And we have a blog, which is followed by loads of people, and we have trained over 5,000 people in SEO professionals globally. We work with brands across the board, right from top players, enterprise level, right down to SMEs and mom and pop type of websites, because our game is understanding how the Google algorithm works, etc., how digital marketing works, and then transferring that knowledge to website owners, etc., and managing entire programs for them. A little bit about myself personally. I graduated from the University of Western Sydney in the mid 90s, late 90s, with a degree in marketing, and I followed that up with a MBA specializing in e-marketing from the University of Technology, Sydney. And I got into sales and marketing, etc. And then I launched my own website, Best Phone Deals. I first launched a smaller website, which didn't work out that well. And then later I launched bestphonedeals.com.au in mid 2000s. And I'll talk a little bit about that as well. I'm a speaker and instructor at various industry forums such as TEDx, Australian Marketing Institute. I've done a bunch of webinars with them, DMAI, SES, AdTech, quite a few of them. And I also write articles for AMI, etc. You can find me on Twitter at Sidlal. I have my personal blog, which is www.oneclickcustomers.com. I write occasionally whenever I do find some time. And I'm also present on LinkedIn. If you do want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn. So talking a little bit more about this website that I launched, Best Phone Deals. The reason I want to talk a little bit more about it is because it's a small business success story, and hopefully it inspires other people as well. And it's about digital marketing. So this is a screenshot of Google from mid 2005, and if you can imagine, I was selling telecommunications services, and we were competing against, Telstra, Optus, etc. And because we did our SEO really well, we were able to get our phone phone lines ringing. So we were getting constantly people who were calling us to get either a home phone service, broadband internet, etc. That's the services we were selling for a bunch of people. So we were authorized dealers for TPG, Dodo, and a bunch of others as well. Now, on the left side is our organic SEO-based result. And as you can see, there is close to 1 million results, 982,000 results for that particular term, best phone deals, just as an example, in Australia. And we were on that first page of Google on 3rd position, and for a lot of other terms as well. And then on the right side is Google Ads, and we were also running an ad campaign. And people were clicking on these ads, and we were getting our phones ringing. So, we went on to sell over $15 million of services for these various telecommunication companies. And then later I used this knowledge, etc., when I joined Bruce Clay for other companies as well. Now, this is my favorite slide in the entire deck, and this talks about our digital growth strategy. I strongly believe your website is your sales superstar. It's on 24/7. It does not sleep. So if you feed it properly, which is you give it the right content, you've got nice pictures on it, you've got your messaging right, you've got a call to action, you get people, funnel them to do the action that you want them, whether it's selling products or services or getting leads, getting them to fill out their details. It's going to be doing that for you 24/7. And your job is to focus on the left side, which is you need to feed the website with visitors, right? And this can be done from multiple channels. You can use Google, which this presentation will focus on, which is Google SEO, Google Ads, right? But apart from that, you can also use social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, video marketing, YouTube, Vimeo, etc., right? And funnel people, traffic them into the website. And from there, it's your website's job to convert those into sales. And the reason I also love the website is that it gives you access to a global audience, versus if you have just a normal shop front, your radius is limited to within, a few kilometers of that shop. So this is your digital shop front. It gives you a global audience. It gives you the ability to focus on niche audiences as well. So, very, very limited market sizes, you can work with them. While the focus of this presentation will be Google Ads, I do want to make sure that you guys understand that there are a number of other marketing channels, and you should really look at exploring all these marketing channels, whether it's Instagram, Pinterest, which are really good channels if you've got products that photograph well, etc., and people love sharing them, then please do explore Instagram and Pinterest. If you're more of a B2B type of business, then LinkedIn is a very, very good channel to focus on, and Twitter as well. YouTube, you must never ignore YouTube. YouTube, in fact, is the second largest search engine in the world. And it's also the second most trafficked website in the world with over 3.4 billion unique visitors. And it also plays in really well with Google marketing as well, because YouTube videos feature in the Google search results as well. So why does Google marketing matter? Well, here are some interesting statistics. First of all, in Australia, we've got about 90% plus market share. In fact, that's a slightly older stat, so it's about closer to probably 95% market share. And as we all know, all of us use Google, and 94% of consumers research online before they make that buying decision. So whether you want to buy a phone, go on a holiday, search for your next job, rent a house, buy a car, whatever it is, you jump on Google and you do your research. So we Google it. So that's why Google marketing is very, very important. Now, the other thing, the other reason I really love Google is it's an intent-based medium, right? So unlike social media where you go in, like to a Facebook, etc., to interact with friends, etc., you come to Google with a particular purpose. So you as a business are able to reach potential customers when they're actually browsing, researching, or comparing products that you might be selling. So the way I look at it, these consumers are, ready to buy from you, and it's your job to sell to them. And these are what we call in-market audiences. Just so that as we are getting into the presentation, I also wanted to clarify the difference between SEO and Google Ads, because a lot of times when I've asked people, they find it very hard to um, research what it is. So as an example, um, most people, when they type in hotels in Sydney or hotels near Bondi Beach, they would, the top ads would be paid search ads, which is Google Ads, etc. And just below that are organic results, as you can see. Just give me one moment. I believe the slides are not coming through on your screens. Let me just double check the setting over here. All right. Let me. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize that the screen was not getting shared. Like, I'm just going to go back into chat to make sure you guys can actually share, see the screen. So Q&A. Guys, can you just confirm that you're able to see these slides now? I just want to make sure that the slides are being seen. I'm just going to type in very quickly. Can you see the slides now? Okay. Yes, we can see them. Perfect. Great. Sorry, really sorry about that, folks. I didn't realize the screen sharing wasn't on, but we are now back into this. I won't repeat that whole presentation back again, but I'll very quickly just show you guys the slides that we just missed. So this was the digital growth strategy I just talked about, where we talked about funneling people from Google, Facebook, YouTube, etc., into the website and then converting them into sales. And then in this particular one, we talked about what are the various marketing channels that you can explore. Post that, we talked about why Google marketing matters, and we talked about Google market share and how consumers start researching online. We talked about the Google is an intent-based medium. And then I was currently on this slide where I say, hey, if someone types in on Google, say, for example, hotels in Sydney near Bondi Beach, and we are able to, distinguish between ads, which are on the top, and organic results, which are on the bottom. The ads are qualified by that ads thing that is on the top. And just so that, most people click on the organic results and lesser people click on ads itself. So let's talk about why the consumer journey matters. So this is the famous ADA principle, which Elmo Lewis invented in 1898, where he talked about the ADA marketing model, and that holds true today as well. As per this consumers go through a process of purchasing a product, and the various stages are attention, interest, desire, and action. Traditionally, this process took time, but with the advent of the internet, this process has become supercharged. Today, consumer journeys have a habit of starting in the online space, and whether you want to buy a house, rent a car, whatever it is, it all starts on Google. And as an example, if you are in business, you want to ensure your presence on Google. Unless you have spent a ton of money on advertising, people will not be able to be aware of your brand. But they know the product or service that they want to purchase. So they jump on Google and type in a generic search query right? And the top of the funnel goal is for a website to get as many first page results as possible. Now, um, in this example, this is, the idea is, you're using Google marketing to improve brand value. And here we have an example of a client of ours called B Metal B. They're a small Australian business, but their target market is the United States. And now what happens here, if you notice, this is a generic query that someone has typed into Google. So they're not aware of B Metal B as a brand, but they're certainly aware of what product they want to buy. So someone has gone in and typed in, say, metal privacy screens. Another person might type in, say, outdoor metal screen panels, right? And at this point of time, our client's website has risen to the top of Google on the first page. And as you can see, there's, in this case, there is 215 million results, and they are at position 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over there, right? And they're an excellent company. Their website, B Metal B, is right up there with Walmart, with Amazon, with Etsy, etc., which are massive players, right? So if as a business, you are able to use SEO and improve your website so that it matches up on search results, you're going to get lots and lots of benefits. Now, a little bit about how that Google first page of results, which are the Google SERPs, have different click-through rates attached to them. So while the first initial goal for any business is to get to that first page of Google, but then there is a massive difference between you being at the bottom of the page and the top of the page, right? So in this particular graph, what we've got, and we've got two charts over here. One is desktop click-through rates, and one is mobile click-through rates. So the mobile click-through rates are the bigger bars over here. And as you can see, the first page, the first result, the number one result on a mobile gets about 28% click-through rate, right? And by the time someone is on that 10th position, which is the bottom of the Google page, they get about 2.8% click-through rate. On the desktop, the figures are the first result gets about 36% click-through rate. And by the time someone reaches the bottom, which is the 10th position, so you're still on the first page of Google, but you're only getting 2% CTR, right? So trivia is that position 1 on search results gets 17 times more traffic than position 10, right? And therefore, SEO is an ongoing process. So think of this as a cycle race, right? If you overtake the cyclist in front of you, he's going to do everything possible to come back and overtake you as well, right? So if you move from 10th position to the 5th to the 3rd, all the other websites that you've overtaken are going to do their best to regain that position because they know they've just lost out on market share. So as a result, SEO is never going to stop, right? And you think about how important this is, because 20 years ago, when Google's first page of results only had those 10 positions, today, 20 years later, they still only have 10 positions on that first page of Google. But now think on the other side of the equation. 20 years ago, if there was only 1 million businesses online, today there are hundreds of millions of businesses online, right? So it has become much, much more difficult. But that's where the game is. We want to be there. Now, so how do you get better rankings in SEO, right? On a basic level, it is easy. There are 3 main types of SEO that you want to do. There is on-page SEO, there is technical SEO, and there's off-page. So within on-page, you've got things like keywords, content, meta tags, and these communicate to your to the search engines what your website is all about. Therefore, it's important to have those relevant keywords and content on your website. Then you come into technical SEO. Now, what is technical SEO? That's things like site architecture. How do the pages link with each other within the website? What are the URL structures? website performance, that's the page load times. How fast will your website load? User experience, right? How long do people stay on your website when they come to your website? Then there is the third part of SEO, which is off-page SEO. Off-page is also very popularly known as link building. That is, you want to get third-party websites to link back to your website. It's much like getting votes, right, from one website to another, right? Many years ago, it was purely about getting a link, but today it's also, if your website just gets mentioned on third-party websites, Google still takes that as some kind of a signal that it's an important website. So overall, if you were to do these three things for your website, you will be able to get good rankings, right? Now, having said that, SEO is really rocket science, right? Because there's a lot of improvements that have been made in Google search technology. Today, they're using things like AI, artificial intelligence, ML, which is machine learning, big data, etc. So Google is now able to understand the website content and its intent better. It's also able to sniff out websites that are trying to game the system. It has many penalties in place, such as Google Panda, Google Penguin, Google Pigeon, the page layout algorithm, etc. And the idea is to penalize websites that try to exploit loopholes in the Google algorithm. Previously, Google only understood exact match keywords, right? But today, the Google's algorithm, there's been a massive evolution. Things like Hummingbird and RankBrain and Bird, etc., have come into play. You no longer, as a website as a website owner, your content does not need to have exactly the same keyword that the customer is typing in. Today, Google understands intent, etc., and it understands the meaning between words. So if you're just talking about your topic, the theme, all those things, that is good enough. You need to make sure your website is well laid out, right? So you have to have a parent and a child relationship between the pages, right? So if you've got products, lay them out well. Don't mix all the products into one silo. If you've got electronics as one section, and within electronics, then you might have mobile phones as one, televisions as another, right? So you need to make sure each section is very well laid out, because Google's mission, as stated on their company information page, is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Now, what else can we do in terms of SEO? So speed. Speed is actually a critical factor, and marketers must design web experiences that are super fast, right? People want to quickly pay their bills on finance websites, or get rapid results when they're browsing holiday reviews, view an article instantly when they click through to it, right? If the web page takes too long to load, they'll abandon the site and move on, right? So in this stats that you're seeing from Google, this is from Think with Google. What they are talking about is, if a website has a load time of greater than 10 seconds, it actually increases the chance of a bounce by 123%, right? Now, on the other hand, if you're able to make your website super fast and maybe get the speed to load the website in under 3 seconds, right? The bounce rate reduces to 30%. So now it's going to be a challenge, but you want to get your website to load as quickly as possible. Remember, on the web, your competition is only one click away from your particular website. So you want to make that experience super, super fast. In terms of those conversions, now these are stats from some massive websites. So they've got hundreds and hundreds of millions of visitors coming to their website, but this is the kind of impact that it has on them. BBC says that they lost an additional 10% of users for every additional second that their website took to load, right? Amazon says that if their website slows down by 1 second, they lose $1.6 billion a year in sales. But my favorite one out here is Google. So if you see, Google says if their website slows by 0.4 of 1 second, that's a fraction of a second, they lose 8 million searches per day, right? Now, what does that mean for Google? That means that they are able to show millions of fewer ads on their on that page. And if that's their revenue model, so if they're able to show lesser ads, they are not able to make as much revenue. That's the reason why Google has limited their page to 10 results and not to 20, right? Because they wanted that speed and get as many ads out there. Mobiles today, mobiles are increasingly becoming the first point of contact between the brand and the consumer, right? So you need to make sure your website is actually accessible by the phone as well as by the desktop. So that's what we call responsive web design, where when a customer comes to your website, they might use their mobile phone, or they might use their desktop or laptop computers or tablets. And your website should be able to adapt its screen and the contents in it to that particular user experience, right? Now, the other thing is also you want to make sure that the content you show on the desktop as well as the mobile is similar, and that mobile experience has to be super quick, right? So again, stats from Google says that a 1 second delay in mobile load time can impact conversions by 20%. There's some other research that also says that a negative experience on the mobile means that the customer is 62% less likely to purchase from you in the future. Now, so what are some mobile website best practices? One is you want to get it to super fast loading. So if possible, under 3 seconds, great. But even if you can get it at 4-5 seconds, you want to see how are you doing against your competitors. And if you're giving a good enough experience, that's the main thing. You want, even if, let's say, the site takes 5 seconds or 7 seconds to load, but if you can get that first screen loading up very, very quickly, that's going to matter, right? And how can you do that? One thing is you could reduce the size of the page. So, by looking at the content, the images, etc., and keep that limited to, say, less than 500 KB, and that should help you a lot, right? Don't have too many widgets and plugins on the page. Like you've got a hero banner up the top, then you've got other banners happening, you've got polls, you've got different aspects of the page, because the more number of images, etc., everything that are there on the page, the more number of requests the server has to make to get your website loaded. So you want to keep that to a minimum as well. Now, this is the story of one of our clients. This is Premier Maldives. And when we first started working with them, you can see that they have got these beautiful pictures on their website. And a picture, as we all know, is worth 1,000 words, but it can also kill your Google marketing strategy. So what happened is when we launched their Google advertising campaigns, etc., we found that people were bouncing away very, very quickly. Now, the reason for that was their website had these beautiful pictures, but they had not been optimized. We actually found one picture on their, which was this hero banner here, which was 4 megabytes in size, 4 MB. That's massive. It took many, many seconds for that to download on their computers. So, we optimized that image, etc., reduced it massively from 4 MB to, I think, about 200 or 300 KB. And that massively improved the load time. And that also meant that when we ran our Google advertising campaign, people were not bouncing off as often, and they started getting a lot more sales. And that's just one thing that we did. So I'm just giving you an example of how important images can be. And what else can you do? So from an SEO perspective, you can also what's called alternative text on the image. So what you want to do is you want to, because some people are as an example, blind, and they still use the internet, right, using screen readers. So in fact, in the United States, there are disability laws which require you to actually have those text on each image, which tells the user what that image is about. But that's also very good for the search engine, because it also gives it clues about what that image is about. Second, you want to make sure you have got a descriptive file name, right? A lot of times you will notice that, when you load an image from your camera onto the website, it has that default file name, and that could be, file 001, whatever your camera gives that image a name. So you want to make sure you change that name, because again, that also gives the search engine an idea of what that image is about. We've already talked about size. The content which is near those images, so make sure that your content and the images match up, because they also give relevancy to the search engines. The next thing we want to talk about is content. Now, content marketing, this is basically, you want to know what are the different types of content that you have. So you start by identifying assets that you might already own, because if you've been in business for a while, there's a chance, even irrespective of whether you develop content for the website, you might have created brochures, case studies, white papers as a normal way of doing business. So if you have any of those, then make sure you put them up on your website, right? Now, in the scenario where you do not have that content available, then it's very important that we go through this phase. And so you move to step number 2, which is you research. You figure out what are the types of keywords people are looking for about your business, about your products, about your industry, right? Do some competitor research, and find out the information that is there to support an idea that you might have about creating content for your site. Then you go about and create that content. Now, that content could be text-based content like an article, a blog, etc. Now, the other thing is it could be an infographic. It could either be a simple infographic or a really interesting piece where you do comparisons, etc. You could also create white papers, video case studies, etc. Now, the next step is, once you have created that content, it is also very, very important to amplify, right? So how do you do this amplification? Because if you don't do this amplification, all that's going to happen is you've spent an enormous amount of time creating this beautiful content, and it's sitting on your website. But if your website doesn't get too many visitors, no one's going to get exposure to that content. So what we need to do is, as a next step, you want to amplify that content, which means you might use your social media channels to talk about that content. You might reach out to other people who have shared that type of content before, and tell them about this. You might reach out to websites that link to third-party websites and are linking to similar type of content, and say why your content is better, and get them to link to your content instead. If you have the budget, you can use influencers to market your content. And then obviously, very important, you must measure, because if you don't measure what's working, you will not know what is it that you should repeat and do more of, right? Now, what are the different types of content that you can look into? So this actually depends. You need to ask yourself the question, where are your audiences and what is it that they're looking for? And that's when you are able to create content that is meaningful. So you can go in, and once you've created the content, you could go into, say, for example, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. They have Facebook has groups, LinkedIn has groups. Go and participate in them. Then there are Q&A type of sites, so question and answer types of sites like Quora, Reddit, etc., forums, right? Now you can go and participate in these forums, and you can answer questions, become an expert, a thought leader on those forums. Another way of doing content marketing would be a webinar. So for example, exactly what I'm doing right now, you guys could do this within your own industry as well. And you can create a webinar. It could be a series as well. You could write guest posts. So if you've got third-party websites in your industry, etc., which can give you good exposure, then you should consider looking at, reaching out to them and writing a guest post for their audiences. You could do podcasts. And so there's so many different ways you can do content marketing. So you just need to ask yourself, what is it that you have to do? And this is going to really help your business, because the more content marketing that you do, the more your brand resonates in that online sphere, the more chances your own SEO will also improve. Now, this is very, very important to know. That is the amount of content being generated every single day. So if I take the example of WordPress here, now on WordPress, every single minute, 965 posts are being created, right? And in every single year, there's 500 million posts being created. Think about that for a second. If you look at Medium, Medium is a very specialist blogging type of platform, article writing. Now, even on that kind of a specialist platform, 14 articles are being created every single minute, or over 7.5 million posts every single year, right? So move on to YouTube. YouTube, 500 hours of video is being uploaded every single minute. And that's about 100. And so, and the top 10 YouTube, okay, yeah. So this is another stat around YouTube, that the top 10 YouTube channels, earn a combined $162 million. But the main point is that there is so much of content being created that if you decide to go and create content, because it's important for your SEO and for your website and for your audience, you want to make sure what I call 10x content, basically a term to say that, it has to be really great content. So how do you do that? You say, is the content useful? Is it well researched? Is it somehow unique from all the other content that is being created already in your niche? Look for something that's missing and then write about that. So as I say, SEO is like fine wine. The longer you invest in it, the better it gets. Now, it's also important that we measure the performance of your SEO, because if you don't do that, so if some of you guys have SEO agencies as an example, or you're working with third-party SEO specialists, then you do want to make sure that you're getting keyword ranking reports. You're looking at Google Analytics, and that's Google Analytics is a free dashboard that you can implement for your website, and that gives you all the figures you need in terms of how much traffic is coming to your website, what are they doing on your website, which pages are they visiting, how long did they stay, so time on site, what's the bounce rate. It gives you a ton of information. And if you're an e-commerce site, then it also gives you data around revenue, so how many products were sold, etc. It's free to implement. You just take a piece of code from Google and you put it on your website, upload it, and that's how it works, and then you get a dashboard. So it's very important. And then Google also gives something called a Google Search Console. So, that gives you great information. That's Google directly telling you what could be wrong with your website. So if you've got pages which are not working, they've got broken links, etc., Google will tell you about them, right? Any pages not being indexed, Google will tell you about them. Moving on, I'm going to talk about a case study. Again, this should show you how powerful SEO and Google Ads can be. Now, this is about Peanut Street Noodles. It's a client of ours, and they are a chain of Asian-infused Thai restaurant and noodle bars with 11 restaurants across Sydney, Brisbane, and the Sunshine Coast. Customers can dine in, take away, or order online. And their competitors include other Asian restaurants, as well as normal restaurants in the same geographic area, as well as aggregators like Menulog, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, etc. Right? Now, so a year ago, the issue they had was they had launched a new site, and that site was not ranking on the first page of Google. So when someone typed in, for example, Thai restaurant Zetlands or Thai restaurant Balmain, right? Or Thai takeaway, whatever keyword combination, they were not ranking. So we came in, we obviously audited the website as the first step. We created customized meta tags, we identified gaps, and we created content to put on those landing pages. We identified any low quality landing pages, and we sort of spruced them up. If there were duplicate content, so pages which were duplicates to each other, we got them removed. From a technical SEO perspective, we improved the page speed, load time. We improved how pages linked to each other, right? So we did all those to improve the user journey, conversion rate optimization, and many, many more things. Now, as a result of that, now these are the results that you can see on the first page of Google. Now, this is not from too long ago, this particular report. So if you even on your computers right now, did a search for, say, Thai restaurant or Thai food, Zetland as an example over there, Peanut Street Noodles was ranking at number 4th position. Similarly, if someone typed in Thai restaurant Budina, they're at 5th position, and so on. Or Thai food The Rocks, they were at the 6th position. And now, getting great rankings is one thing. Now, but this rankings leads to traffic on your website. And most importantly, this is the right type of traffic, right? Because someone, like I told you, Google is an intent-based medium. So if someone has typed in this on the Google search, they are probably looking to buy order food. That's why they're typing this into Google, or they're wanting to dine in at a restaurant. So as a result of this, organic revenue from online orders for them has doubled. Now, apart from Google SEO, this particular client had dabbled in the past in Google Ads, but that did not work out for them. So they stopped doing it. Now, back in March, the coronavirus crisis hit, and the customers, dine-in customers' sales, crashed. And the client was looking at options to increase their online presence and online sales. So we spoke to them about their Google Ads strategy. And like I said, the client said, hey, it's not worked in the past, so I don't really want to work on this. So we had a look at it, and we believed that we could improve these campaigns. So we convinced the client to try out the strategy. Now, we analyzed their historical performance. We figured out what was working, what was not working. We created new campaign creatives. We rebuilt that entire account from the ground up. We, did very good research. What types of keywords are people searching for? We created tightly themed ad groups, right? So all foundational stuff. If you get those foundations right, you can do a lot with Google Ads, right? And as you can see over here now, as an example, there are 2 different ad copies that we were also testing. So in the first one, we focused on the special price. So for example, here we are saying $9.95 nasi goreng special. And in the second ad copy, we went with that emotional angle of supporting your local business, right? So trying out different things. And as a result of this, the Google ad revenue investment, the customers' investment in Google doubled. But more importantly, the online orders started pouring in. Their sales from online increased by 4x of what they had done previously, right? And the client testimonial was, we appreciate what Sid and the team at Bruce Clay has done. Transparency is there. So also, just so that you understand the difference in Google advertising, you can do what's called Google search advertising. So this is on the Google search results page. When someone types, for example, buy shoes online, and I've highlighted in that red box, these are the ads that come on the top. And you also see ads on the right side of the thing. Now, this is the Google search network. But Google also has their display network. So this is the Google display network, and that reaches 90% of internet users worldwide across millions of websites, pages, blogs, Gmail, YouTube, all of those, because those are properties also owned by Google, right? And then these display ads can be used to help promote your business when people are browsing online. So they might be watching YouTube videos, etc., checking Gmail on their mobile devices and apps, etc. And that's when your ad appears. So in this example here, I'm showing, this is the Sydney Morning Herald. And as you can see, there are 2 ads over here, which I've again outlined with a red box. One's for Tiffany and one's for a car brand. And the ad has appeared when someone is reading about maybe a topic which is related, etc., or they must have done a search in the past around that topic, and that ad appears. So, the Google Display Network is a very, very powerful way to improve your brand presence. Now, what can you do from a Google ad campaign perspective? obviously the basic thing is research the products and services, but then you create these campaigns, mini campaigns with clear goals, right? So tightly themed ad groups, put those keywords in those ad groups. Then for each particular ad group, you want to write compelling ad copy, and then you launch that. And then you see what results are coming through, what's working and what's not working, and then continue that optimization process. Now, you want to do A/B testing of your ad copies as well. So you need to understand, because don't just base it on gut. The best thing about digital marketing is that you are able to actually see what is working and what's not working based on data, right? How many people took a particular action? What is it that you wanted it to do? Then as part of Google Ads, you want to make sure you're able to tell people when someone clicks on the ad, which part of your website should they go to. So don't just send people blindly to the home page. If you have a particular product page which is much more relevant, make sure you send people to that particular product page, right? So you need to be able to go into each of your ad copies, each ad group, and link it to that relevant page, right? And then when someone comes to that landing page, make sure you have the right content. You have to have that hero banner. You want to have the right call to action, and you want to be able to experiment by doing A/B testing. So send someone to one particular page of your site, and then someone clicks on the ad, send them to another part of the website, and see which one works better. So, and try to run only one test at a time. If you run multiple tests, it does get harder, right? And make sure you have enough data before you make a decision. So don't just base it, 10 clicks, and on the basis of those 10 clicks, you made a decision. No, you need to make sure that there is enough data behind your decision making. I've already talked about creatives, but I also want to talk that there's two types of creatives. One are the text ad copies. Now the text ad copies are the ones that you're seeing up the top, which I spoke about a bit earlier as well. And these appear generally on the Google search network, but they also can appear on the Google display network, where someone is reading the Sydney Morning Herald or news.com.au or a car website, etc. But then you also have these banner ads, and these are lovely. They're beautiful. You can create all these banner ads, and they can appear on third-party websites. So if someone's, for example, on a coupon website looking for a food coupon, your ad could appear at that particular point of time. And you can create variations of your banner ads and see which one is working. You can tweak the color of the button. You can tweak the call to action. All those kind of things you can do, and see which one works, and make sure you send visitors. So if you're doing a Google Display Network campaign, it is a very, very big network, and Google will eat up all the money that you are willing to spend. So you want to be very, very careful about where you are spending your money on the Google Display Network. This is another fantastic way that Google allows you to do your advertising. This is something called remarketing or retargeting. And this is when someone has come to your website already, and then they go to third-party websites. Now, at this point of time, using cookies, Google is able to identify which website they went to, and you can then have your ad appear. So it's like following them, in a way stalking them, and your ad appears at that particular point of time when someone has gone to a third-party website. Now, having said that, what you want to be careful about is you don't really want to end up stalking them. So make sure you there's something called frequency capping. So don't have your ad appear like 10 times in a day for that person. Maybe you might want to limit it to once or twice. And also you want to understand how often that ad should appear. Talking about measurement, same thing like analytics, etc. Google has the AdWords dashboard. So make sure you use that AdWords dashboard. It will tell you all the information you need about cost, about clicks, about impressions, where are the people converting. But one of the most important stats is ROI, that's return on investment. Now, this is one of the reasons that an ad campaign might fail, because what happens a lot of times is people make an investment into Google, advertising as an example. And because they're not able to recover that investment immediately, they stop running those ads. Now, this is something I want to make sure that people understand that, look, let's try to understand the lifetime value of a customer and then figure out whether it makes sense for you to run a Google ad campaign or not. So in this example, I'm saying that, hey, if a product costs $100 to produce and you sell that $100 product for $200, so you're selling it at double the price. Now, you run a Google ad campaign, you spend $200 on Google advertising, which is there, and you're able to sell 6 products. So that means your revenue is those 6 products multiplied by $200 sale price, that's $1,200. So $1,200 is your revenue. Now, on the other hand, it cost you, remember, $100 to produce it. So your cost is $600 for those 6 products, plus the $200 you spent on Google Ads. So a total cost for you is $800. But then when you say, okay, my ROI is the $1,200 minus the $800, so $400. So that's a great ROI, right? So you would continue doing this day in and day out. But what happens if I slightly tweak this example and everything else is the same in this example, apart from the fact that instead of charging $200 in Google advertising, I spent, so my investment in Google advertising went from $200 to $600. Now, the cost of goods sold, which is the same 6 products that you purchased and sold, is the same as the cost of advertising. And when you add it all up, by the time you sell those 6 products, you have made no money. It's zero. So a lot of time business owners then decide to switch off the campaign. But that might not be the best of decisions. So what you really want to think about is the concept of the lifetime value. Will you be able to get repeat sales from that customer? How frequently will they be able to come back to you and purchase more? Will you be able to cross-sell some other products to them, right? Over a period of time, will you be able to upsell products to them, right? So, and how often do they come back to make those purchases, the frequency? So if you figure all those things out, and then finally there's the value that, hey, once the customer is purchased from you, you then have the most important currency, which is the information about the customer, the name, the email ID, etc. And why is that important? Because you can then use it for creating a database marketing campaign, an email marketing campaign, and that is free. So once you have done this and you've collected all these customer names, so you can now create an email marketing campaign which you can run for pretty much free and send out hundreds of emails to these people whenever you have a sale or you want to talk to them about a new product. There are these penalties, but I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to and I will share this presentation with you guys as well via a link. There are a few different, tools that I would want to talk to you about. There is Alexa, which is a free tool, and you should use that to figure out competition, etc. Another one is the Google AdWords Keyword Planner. That's a fantastic tool to get information about what people are searching for. Majestic is great to understand where are people linking and talking about you. Screaming Frog is another great tool from a technical SEO perspective because it maps out the site architecture of your site. Then you've got Google Alerts. It's again a free tool where you can actually type in the brand that you want to know more about, and every time that brand is mentioned in the media, Google sends you an alert about them, right? SEMrush is great from finding out competitor information, what campaigns, what's driving traffic to your competitors. We have our own SEO tool set as well. If I get a chance, I'll show that to you as well. Now, I'm going to quickly tell you that if any of you are interested in a quick SEO audit or a free 15-minute consultation that goes along with it, for the first 10 people, please do send me an email on slal@bruceclay.com. That's on your screen right now, slal@bruceclay.com. And for the first 10 people, we'll give a free quick site audit. Now, the most important thing I also want to say is if you guys want to learn a lot more about the Google marketing, SEO and Google Ads, next week, I'm going to be doing a 3-hour deep dive into SEO and Google Ads. And it's going to be a practical class, so interactive, not a webinar, a practical class where I will be showing you some of these tools that we mentioned earlier, how to use them, and how they can increase value for your website. So you can actually run it in real time and help you improve. So a part of the component of the class will be a practical exercise. One of the components will be me showing how to use those tools. We are going to give everyone who registers for the class, we are going to give them our SEO toolset, which is valued at $75 for a 3-month subscription. We are going to give that for free. And if any of you are CPMs, that's the Certified Practicing Marketer, as part of the AMI CPM program, we are going to give that, they qualify for 3 hours of course time on that. And people who have attended this webinar will get a 10% discount. So use the code webinar10 to get that 10% discount. The webinar is next week, Wednesday, 28th October, from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And like I said, it's going to be there's going to be an interactive component to this webinar. I also will very, very quickly, I know we have pretty much run out of time. So if some people need to leave, that's fine. But about a minute, I'm just going to show you the power of some of these tools. So this, for example, is the SEO tool set. And here you have got a bird's eye view of a particular website, and what are the different pages and how they are linked to each other. Then the tool also shows you for a particular page. So for example, in this case, I've run it on Sydney Morning Herald, right? And it's showing me what are the different words used on the page and how are they interacting with each other. It also tells me the tag information. What is the title of the particular page? What's the description used on the page, right? What are the heading tags used on the page? All that information is being pulled by the tool, and it's telling me. It's giving me a page speed of the site. It's telling me what content is written on the page. It's also, the tool then shows me a ranking report. So I can run a ranking report. In this case, for example, I'm showing you a ranking report from Peanut, which is one of our clients. So you can run this ranking report and you can select which target market. So in this case, it's Australia, and the keyword and the rankings are shown over here. You can also see competitor rankings. So for that same particular keyword, how are your competitors ranking? That's also shown. One of the other tools I'll also cover about. So this was our tool, which we're going to give you for free for the first 3 months. It normally costs, I think, about $25 a month. So you'll get the 3-month free subscription. And then this is another tool that we'll talk about. This is the Screaming Frog, and how we can use this to get technical SEO related results, right? So for example, I've run this on the Sydney Morning Herald, and I just did a quick partial run. And it's telling me what is the URL. It tells me what are the titles used on each page of the website over here. What are the descriptions used on each page of that particular website. It's giving me the heading tags. So if I wanted to see what are the different heading tags that are used on the page. So it's giving me all this great information, whatever information I need. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this tool and how you guys can get access to it and how to use it. Similarly, the SEO tool set, and I'll talk about a couple of other tools as well. We have run out of time, but let me just see if I can answer a question or two if there is any. So one of the questions, and I probably have to rush out because I've got another thing happening very quickly. Someone has asked, what is a good page load time? Now, the answer, Renee, for that is that you ideally want to get under 5 seconds. Like the best thing would be as quickly as possible. So 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever you can get, the fastest you can get, right? And compare it to your competition in the industry. And for that, you can use tools. There are tools like Google has something called Google Page Speed Test. It's also now called Lighthouse, I think. There's also something called GT Metrics. That's another tool that you can use to figure out what's the page load time. And these are free tools, guys. You can just go to the web, type that in, get that tool. It's online, enter your website, and boom, it tells you the speed of your site. So thank you very much, folks. And remember, if you want to register, it's on Eventbrite. You can register for the 3-hour interactive workshop next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.